Hi everyone, and welcome back to Harp and Guitar, People and Music. So for today on Blues History, I have actually something that I didn't realize I had. I thought we were going to have to jump ahead right over the mid-1930s and basically skip 1934, 1935, 36, and even maybe 1937, just because of the fact that there was very little records being recorded and being pressed, actually, in any of the major recording companies, whether it was in Grafton, Wisconsin, or up in New York or New Jersey. Therefore, there wasn't really a lot out there. They were still recording blues and jazz and pop tunes and popular stuff, but it was really only the very, very popular artists or huge hits that they were doing any major pressing and copies of and distributing. At the height of record pressing in the 1920s, hell, they were pressing sometimes 200,000 copies in one run and just let it into the market. And if those copies sold out, they could print more. But once we get into the mid-1930s, some of those pressing numbers went from hundreds of thousands down to just a few thousand. In some cases, just over 1,000 copies were being pressed of some records. So as a result, I didn't really think I had a lot in my collection. But it turns out that I did find something that I have it sort of plays a dual role here for today. It's a recording from 1935, and it's a Boogie Woogie record. And the great thing about Boogie Woogie is it's a fine example of how you can hear all three of what we've been talking about here so far: Western swing, jazz, and blues. Boogie Woogie is a fine example of how you hear all three of those musical subgenres combined to create one sound. Now, Boogie Woogie was mainly played on the piano, and that's how it was initially developed. Later it was picked up on other instruments, most notably the guitar, of course. But Boogie Woogie's birth really was sort of started in what was known as Western piano. You know, in those cowboy movies where you see somebody playing a really rollicking, fast-tuned piano, and a gunslinger would walk in and, the music stops and everybody turns and looks? Well, that style of piano was known as Western piano, and that was sort of the precursor to barrelhouse, which was a form of piano playing that developed in the South that was very aggressive and propulsive and percussive sounding. And that eventually evolved into Boogie Woogie. And Boogie Woogie has a very distinct style because it developed the walking bass line basically with the left hand, and then playing intricate polyrhythms and faster tempos with the other hand in syncopation. And this basically started Boogie Woogie. And it was the perfect type of music to slide into the blues and for people to dance to. It was sort of an up-tempo precursor to jump blues, which I have an example of that we'll show here later on in the coming weeks at Harp and Guitar. But for today, the example that I have is a classic recording called Pinetop's Boogie Woogie. Now, it was originally written and recorded by Pinetop Smith in the early 30s, but that copy's super rare, and I don't have a copy of that at all. But what I do have is this version, Pinetop's Boogie Woogie, a cover version performed by Cleo Brown, who's a classic blues singer and piano player in her own right. And this version, Pinetop's Boogie Woogie by Cleo Brown, recorded on Decca Records in 1935. So coming up right here at the end of this video, I've got that song coming here for you, as well as a little video. So stay tuned for that, and in the meantime, if you haven't already, please like the video, let us know what you think down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. So on behalf of myself and my partner Monk Music, I want to thank you very much for joining us here today at Harp and Guitar, People and Music. We'll talk to you again real soon. Stay tuned for the upcoming video, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Brand new number, folks, called Boogie Woogie. It's a funny little song. Now when I tell you to hold it, I don't want you to move a thing. And when I tell you to get it, I want you to boogie woogie. Hold it. Now boogie woogie. When I tell you to hold it this time, I don't want you to move a peg. And when I tell you to get it, I want you to mess around. Or stop. Stop now. Now mess around. I want that gal with the red dress on, any kind of dress will do, to come over here, stand by this piano. Now when I tell you to hold it, I don't want you to move a muscle. And when I tell you to get it, I want you to shake that thing. I'll stop it. Hold it. Now shake that thing.